So over the weekend, I had a little bit dead time. It was pretty exciting. It's pretty awesome. Got to play on YouTube. I don't have any social media, none. Like, no Strava, no Instagram. It's kind of tough because when my daughter sends me stuff, I can't always, like if it's TikTok, I just can't see it. I just don't have I don't have a social media vice, but I do have a YouTube vice. And I will spend a lot of time looking at YouTube videos if I had the time. So I was scrolling through YouTube and this really interesting video came up of a dad. And the dad had a I don't know, 7 or 8 year old son. And he apparently, the son, the 7 or 8 year old, was making fun of a little boy in his class with cancer who had lost his hair. And the dad find out about it, and the video is of the little boy in the barber shop. And he had this, like me, I have no hair, so I was really awestruck by how awesome this kid's hair is. He had like big dreads. It was awesome. Like it looked really neat. Like you could tell the kid had really worked on his hair. His family had put time in his hair. It looked really, really good, man. I was a little envious, I got to admit, of his hair. And his dad was sending him to the barbershop to shave his head. Shave his head. Why? Because his son made fun of a child that was losing his hair because of cancer. And the kid was crying. The kid was upset. But I guarantee this. That child learned an unbelievable, valuable lesson at a young age. And I too have learned, because I was a little jerk as a kid. I'm sure most kids are, most boys are. I mean, Elizabeth's over here. She's doing their production day. She was probably a very nice child, probably never did anything wrong, but boys will do wrong things. We'll do bad things. And I've had my nose broke a time or two. And I'll tell you what, Elizabeth, every time I've had my nose broken by my uppers, older kids, I typically learned a valuable lesson in that sometimes I wish I could have gotten the lesson a little easier, but it did happen. I am not suggesting, by the way, people need their nose broken, but that kid definitely needed his head shaved. You know what I mean? That kid needed his head shaved, and he had an impact on it, and it was very distressing for the child. But here's the point of this, is I believe that our job as educators and as parents is to make good adults. That's it. I mean, I feel like the entire purpose of what we're trained to do is to not build a great buddy and a great friend. And my daughter's 20, she's in college, and I like to think we're friends, but we're not, besties, so to speak. We still have a father-daughter relationship. And when I speak sternly, that young lady sits up. Maybe it's being educated by a military dad or not, but there are times when our job is to teach and to train and not to placate and make feel good. And when we cross those lines, we're making everything difficult for everybody around us and jeopardizing future society for sure. So the whole point of this podcast, though, is I need people to stop blaming teachers for what starts at home. And the lack of holding our children accountable, and it has to happen in school for sure. Absolutely. I'm not suggesting schools do not have a role. They're with the kid for a lot longer in some cases than the parent. So they've got to hold the child accountable, but you have to if you're a parent, the schools hold your child accountable if it's an actual, like, real situation and not some BS. Okay. But most of the times when a teacher wants to hold your student accountable, it's not fake. If a teacher says that they didn't do good on the test, you should check and make sure for sure. But if they didn't do good, let him take the D. Let him take the D. Okay, so I want you to picture this. Let's try to make this a little bit more real, all right? So picture it's like 7:18 and a principal, 7:18 a.m. in the morning, and a principal is unlocking the front doors. Of course, they're probably there a lot before 7:18, but they're unlocking and their phone starts to ring, right? And it's not a safety alert. It's not a best delay, but it's a parent. And the message isn't, hey, how can we help you perform? How can I help my student? Can I schedule a meeting? It's, I need you to fix this teacher today. Very demanding, very aggressive, right? People take their kids serious. They should, but it's think about the emotional upheaval of constantly getting beat up about all the problems when some, not all, but some of those problems start at home. Okay, so before the first bell even rings, the principal already knows how the day is going to go. A teacher's going to lose 20 minutes of instruction so they can deal with one student's struggles. Now, maybe that's needed, but maybe it's it would have washed itself out over time with a little bit of instruction and a little bit of adjustments, not mandatory meetings, right? And so oftentimes that parent will then even go to the trouble of going to defense attorney, like hiring a lawyer, ready to cross-examine everybody. And they want to blame the school for every failure of impulse control that student has. And I really do want to actually talk about impulse control today. Is since COVID, something, I think we've seen it. People have all become a little bit more self-centered, right? A little impatient. And we're years after COVID now, and it's still going on. And it's easier to always blame somebody else for our impatience. I mean, I've done it a lot. And I'm sure that we can all reflect upon times when we've all done it at some point.